Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Welcome everybody back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. I am your host, Adam Cousins, and yes, I know we said we were going to do Impact Wrestling reviews, and I know they haven't been happening. Well, we've had certain things in England, such as Money in the Bank, and there's a few scheduling conflicts that we've needed to overtake and overcome, and we are now here today to do it again with my colleague, my tag team partner, Mr. Dave Robinson. Good afternoon, Dave.
Afternoon, mate. I haven't got a catchy nickname for Impact yet, but I'm really glad that out of our staff of four, really, that I'm getting the opportunity to talk about Impact Wrestling, particularly after some of the other wrestling this week. Really enjoying the products at the minute. So, yeah, I'm excited to talk to you about it.
Yeah, it makes a change this week. We've had quite an indifferent week of wrestling until this show that aired last night. Now,
yeah, I thought this was good.
It was. So we're going to have to just skate over last week. Obviously, like we said before, we couldn't do the Impact review last week. So we'll skate over a couple of bits that happened on the show. Eddie Edwards beat Kazarian with help from his wife. Now, that has led to Kazarian bringing Tracy Brooks to Slammiversary, I believe, this coming Saturday.
The original knockout, yeah?
The original knockout is coming back. So that happened last week. Leo Rush and Nick Aldis last week as well teamed up against the Machine Guns as well for their separate matches at Slammiversary on Saturday. Also, Jonathan Gresham had a really good match last week with Alan Angels, and that teased the split within. I think it's by design, isn't it? By design. Yeah. And then the main thing that happened last week, which we didn't get to talk about, and I'm really annoyed that we didn't, was they set PCO on fire.
This was a bit horrible, wasn't it? This was a bit uncomfortable viewing.
They poured acid in his mouth. This is Macklin and Bully Ray. Poured acid in his mouth and then set him on fire. Dave, I haven't seen anything like that since Kane done it to James Ross. Back in well, I'm not saying it
wasn't quite as evil as this one either, was it? With the battery acid and the screaming as well. The screaming was really quite harrowing, I thought. PCO.
Yes. So, with that being said, there is some news that's coming out that was back end of last week that Macklin had unfortunately suffered a serious injury whilst competing in Australia, so he will not be competing in that match at Slammiversary, and also. It does appear that PCO will also not be participating in that tag match between Bully Ray and Scott D'Amore. So Bully Ray went on Busted Open Radio and announced that Cody Deaner would be his replacement for Macklin, who is unable to compete. And Scott D'Amore hasn't really given away. There was a segment at the end of Impact that we'll talk about, and I'll give you my thoughts. You can give me yours. Disappointed about Macklin, though, Dave.
Yeah, it's a massive shame. He's been on a great run. Obviously picked up the world title, didn't he, a few months ago? And he's been integral to a lot of the main storylines. And, you know, I love Bully Ray's work, have done for a long time. You know, I know he gets some stick by some portions of the wrestling fan base. Yeah. And his matches aren't like a technical masterclass or anything like that, you know. Well, maybe they are actually in some respects, depending on how you rate wrestling, how you kind of what style of wrestling you prefer. I suppose it's not for everyone, but I think he's great at what he does. So big shame for Macklin, but an opportunity now for Deaner, right?
Yeah, Cody Deaner.
I'm getting introduced to some of these characters some I aren't as familiar with, and he's one of them. So it'd be interesting to see how he steps into that role and how he does at Slammiversary.
It will indeed. I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait tomorrow night, Slammiversary on Fight TV. Anyway, moving on to this week's Impact. Now, there was a dark match before Impact. I don't know if you know, Dave. There was a dark match before Impact in which Dirty Dango, the artist formerly known as Fandango, beat Heath Slater by, I think it was cheating from what I was on, feet on the ropes to cheat to win, basically. And I think there was a bit in there when Santino decided to, no, sorry, not Santino, Dirty Dango decided to throw some derogatories towards Santino's daughter. So maybe that's something that could happen at Slammiversary.
Yeah, is Santino's daughter still in NXT?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, there was some slur, wasn't there? And then a sneaky little knockout, little sneaky punch over the top from Dango. I've enjoyed his work as well. That he like, his persona is that he hates wrestling, or that he's very kind. Yeah. So that's an interesting kind of way to, definitely very different to Fandango, isn't it?
Yes, he's coming away from that Fandango. He does a little does the wiggle of the hips here and there, doesn't he? To still keep out sort of relevant, but he's very much moving away from that element of the character and onto a more dirtier side of Dango, shall we say. The opener, I mean, we're saying all week that we have been, we've not had many good wrestling matches. And Impact opened up with an absolute belter. Zachary Wentz and Chris Bay. I absolutely love Chris Bay. I think he's he's a top talent in Impact Wrestling. I thought this match was absolutely fantastic. There was still a little bit of distractions and stuff in this match, but Wentz hit with the Kravitz DDT on base. So I was quite surprised that Wentz won that. Then they walked back. Then they wanted to walk back and ask for the title match at Slammiversary, but they said, or Santino basically said no because she refused.
Yeah, I don't think that's the end of it though. I think that story is going to play out, and ultimately they're going to end up in that match, aren't they? Surprised by the win, but from a storyline point of view, perhaps they've got to. They can't just get the champion to lose and then it not factor into the match at the pay-per-view. He said something along the lines of "You're going to regret it," didn't he? To Santino. But this was awesome, man. This was so good. This match and the Bailey match as well. So good.
It was, and it was very, as I say, with considering the week that we've had of wrestling, to see the match open the show like that, and then
it's just nice to sit back and watch some good wrestling and go, this is why I love this. This is why I love talking about it, watching it, investing so much time in it. When you get in these type of matches, it's nothing but good.
Exactly. There was a short video promo for Alex Shelley and Nick Aldis, basically just highlight their history. You mentioned Mike Bailey, and he was defending. He took on Kevin Knight. This was pay-per-view quality. I can't give it any more.
I've never seen him have a bad match or even a bad spot. He's so gifted as a wrestler. He's, so good.
Did you see the sort of Okada style dropkick that Knight hit during that one?
Yeah.
It was really, really good. I loved this match. I thought this was absolutely fantastic.
Do you think they'll keep him, Mike Bailey, or do you think he'll go to AEW or WWE bound? I don't know a great deal about him, but every single thing I see him in, he steals the show.
I don't think. Well, I'd like to think Impact will keep their wrestlers. Because they're on that real upward curve. Have been for a good few months.
He just seems such a standout star, though, out of all the talent they've got there.
Chris Bay as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They've got a lot. Such a great place for those type of X Division style wrestlers to go to, isn't it? It's perfectly catered for them, for their style. So many different combinations of matches you can have there. I mean, the Chris Bay stuff, that was the first time I think I saw him in a singles match. Usually I've seen him in the tag matches since I've started watching Impact again. So they can put so many combinations of these out week by week now, and I'm just going to be captivated and enjoy every single one of them, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're fantastic. Ultimately, he hit the ultimate weapon to win Speedball Mike Bailey. To answer your question, Dave, whether I see him going elsewhere, I know I said I didn't think he would. I don't think WWE would work. AEW may do, but I think now...
get lost in the shuffle there, couldn't he?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You look at, we was talking about this the other day on the AEW review, and there was so much talent that hasn't been used, and it's one of those. So hopefully Mike stays where he is. I think he's better suited there for definitely for now, anyway. Really good promo from Slamovich and Killer Kelly.
Yeah.
Video package show. Really good. I really like this. Impact do a very good job of, WWE are always going to be theatre quality productions. You're going to get like a movie, production quality.
Yeah.
These ain't far behind.
Yeah, I would definitely say that they're right up there, very gritty type of, you kind of hooked to the screen, like as you're watching, it's like compulsive viewing. The video segments are as compulsive viewing as the matches,
Yeah.
They've got something really good going on at Impact at the minute.
Yeah, and you have to credit everyone at Impact Wrestling for that. Scott D'Amore, everyone behind the scenes that you don't really see, because they've really we've talking about the crowd, and we've said we've got to get used to the fact that this isn't WWE, this isn't AEW, this isn't your big crowds. This is a sort of,
you say that, but this crowd compared to the Dynamite crowd the other night,
Yeah.
I'd go with this crowd
over them
all day. Yeah, compared to what we had on Wednesday.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's smaller, obviously, building, and it can only cater for so many, and it's quite an intimate setting.
Yeah, that's
some weeks we've watched and it hasn't quite popped. You feel like this deserves a little bit more. But I thought they were great this week.
I certainly did as well. I was going to mention that later on. Now, we believe in Joe Hendry, right?
Yeah.
I think that guy is absolutely ridiculously funny.
Yeah, I saw his promo the week before as well. Obviously, we did go into depth on last week's show. But the thing backstage when he just clapped and he appeared, and then his mate appeared.
Like, don't say his name.
Yeah. Like, see, I'm so excited about this because I consider myself a bit of an expert or a hardcore AEW guy. Getting back into Impact now, yeah, I'm a noob, really. There's guys there that I know of, and I've watched wrestling in the past, and I did used to watch TNA, and when it moved over to Impact Wrestling, but I am in some respects a new fan, and he's one of the guys I hadn't really seen anything of. I probably saw his name when I'm flicking through Wrestle Talk or Inside the Ropes, but I hadn't seen him in action. So yeah, I think he's a great character, and that's what they've got a lot of in Impact. Great characters,
great characters, and great wrestlers as well. Which is a really good mixture to have. We called him Stripper Kelly. Now we've got a Japanese name here. So here we go. Brace yourself, everyone. Yuya Uemura.
Nailed it. I don't know. I think that's right.
That's close. Listen, it's better than one of the stuff I was coming out with a couple of weeks back. So these obviously Japanese classes I'm taking are doing the work.
Paying off. Yeah,
they certainly are. What a hilarious match this was. Comedy. So much comedy on this.
This show was a buffet of wrestling, I thought.
Yes.
It had a little bit of everything. And this was very different to the other stuff. There was an element of humor, I suppose, with Santino to begin with, but that's kind of got very serious when he kind of had his clock cleaned. No, cleaned his clock. Is that saying?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
When he had his block knocked off. But this was more comedy, and he just suits it. He's just absolutely killing it at the minute.
Yeah, he is, and he hit the standing ovation. But the whole thing, you just watch it. It's so. There was hold on to the sweater, and
so his introduction as well, and you got the guitar solo in the background, and then he starts the wave, and everybody does it, and that's what I'm saying about the crowd. To say it's a smaller crowd, everybody seemed to be doing their bit to make it, as much as a successful show as possible. Like, they were integral in the success of the show. Yeah. And I just thought they bounced off each other. Like the crowd and the wrestlers just bounced off each other beautifully. It was really, 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 really good week of TV for Impact.
Yeah, it certainly was. The crowd were a lot better, as we said, than over the past few years. And you say, once you get used to the fact that it isn't, you ain't gonna have 10,000 people. You're gonna have 5,000. This is a bit
jarring to begin with, particularly if you go from watching a Raw to watching this. In terms of it's very different the way it's set out. Even like the way they position it as well, the entrance behind the ring. Yeah, and that's a little bit different as well. Impact have obviously been known to do things a little bit differently, going back to the time when they did the 6-sided ring. Yeah. So the presentation's a bit different to any other wrestling show. Knocking it out of the park at the minute. I know I sound like really repetitive, just kind of lauding putting all the praise on Impact. But if anybody's watching this that hasn't checked out Impact for a while, I would definitely encourage you to do so. And there's a great card coming up this weekend, Slammiversary.
Yeah, there is. You can get that on Fight. There's also now a UK. It's on the Zone and Sky. So if you've got Sky, the Zone channel has Impact Wrestling. So always worth a watch. This is definitely worth a watch, these guys. Another two really good promo videos now that sets up the X Division match for Saturday. Lio Rush, he come to Impact. He wants to win the X Division Championship. Saban was sort of saying how Lio Rush was one of the most talented wrestlers he's ever seen, but he was arrogant, cocky, found a cheat code, basically, got in front of everyone else in line, but now he has to face their final boss, which is Saban. Them two promos alone, wouldn't have had to do anything before and just listen to those two, and you would have already said, I want to see that match on Saturday.
Yeah, that's it. You know, if that's their job on this go home show, to sell the pay-per-view to anybody that might be on the fence and thinking, do I just check out the results after, or do I buy it? You watch that promo, you mean, take my 20 quid, whatever it is, whatever they're charging. You want to see, you know, both the two matches that have been set up there, but particularly this one, the Saban, you know, such a stalwart and such a, I mean, he seems to have always been in Impact. I don't know if he's been elsewhere. I'm sure he has done independence in Japan and stuff like that. But I don't think he's been to WWE, has he?
Saban, no, I think he was in ROH, don't he?
Yeah. So, yeah, he's been there, you know, long term. And he's still as good as ever, you know, still putting out match of the night performances. And this against Lio Rush will be something special. I was a little bit on the fence about Leo. You hear these things and you bet the arrogance, but the fact that they're playing into that, I think that's perfectly done as well. Often it's said that the best storylines or the best characters are based on the real life personalities and just turned up a little bit. So I think that's a good way to go with Lio Rush, because he has got that like problem child type of reputation, whether it's rightly or wrongly, you know. I think it was a little bit harsh how his tenure in AEW came to an end, because I don't think he necessarily did anything wrong, really. Just a bit outspoken, isn't he, at times? But I'm glad to see him in Impact, and that'll be a great match with Saban.
It will be, and that's one of the ones I don't think there's any match I'm not looking forward to on Saturday to watch. It will be very exciting. We moved on to a tag match at Moose and Brian Myers against Sami Callihan and Rich Swann. Both quite weird partners for these. You know, if you look at styles and you look at, you know, how character-wise, they're very two. I would say weird combinations, but I thought it was a very good tag match, to be fair.
From what I'm picking up on, there seems to have been more of a long-standing thing with Moose and Myers, or maybe they were doing something and then they stopped and then they're back together, I think. But
I think it was injury to Myers, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah, as I say, I'm still picking things up and going back and just filling in some blanks for myself. But again, this was another good match. Rich Swann, I was a fan of him when he was in the Cruiserweight Classic and when his time in WWE. I thought he did really well. Sami Callihan seems a very consistent performer. He's been at the top of the card as well, hasn't he, in terms of the world title? Obviously dropped down a little bit, if you want to say so, like in terms of his position on the card, but still an integral member of this roster. And this was a fun match.
It was a really fun match. To say, contrast of styles, you know, kind of like weird, I'm going to say weird combinations of partners, but it worked. I mean, Swann it at 450.
It's off the second row, wasn't it?
Callihan went for the cactus driver. Myers pulled Swann from the ring, distracted it. Moose hits a low blow on Callihan and then spears him for the win. With this, where do they go from here? Because we obviously know who the tag team champions are. They're also our Rev Pro tag team champions after the weekend. So congratulations to Subculture, Mark Andrews and Flash Webster. They're not the Impact Tag Champions. I apologize. That's a Bullet Club. But they did say that they're going to win. Subculture are going to win the Impact Tag Team Champions at Slammiversary. That match for me, Dave. So we can go back to Moose in a minute. But Subculture, Bullet Club, ABC. If you add the Rascals in it as well, that is just unbelievable.
Oh man, you know, as I say, I can't come out with enough superlatives about you know what they're doing there at the minute. I look at the card for Slammiversary, and I don't know what I want to watch more. I just want to watch it all. As I say, another wrestling buffet at Slammiversary. I don't know how they're doing kind of financially and all that type of stuff. I don't tend to pay too much notice to stuff like that.
No.
But I would imagine that things are trending in a really positive direction as well. Their viewership's got to be up for the quality they're putting out. And if it's not, it's just a matter of time before it is. Because it's not just like a one-off show, is it?
No.
There's a real consistency, and it's built week in, week out, and these characters have developed, and they're getting a lot of the payoffs now with those storylines that you're invested in. And they've been a little bit unlucky with injuries, particularly with Macklin. But they've got so much on the card that can kind of, I don't know, almost kind of compensate for the stuff when injuries do crop up. Then that it's not the major blow that perhaps it could have been. Would have been without the other stuff that's going on.
Yeah, exactly that. It's going to be a tremendous show for sure. Subculture. Looking forward to that, man. I saw them on Sunday. So excuse me. I saw them Sunday, and they were absolutely tremendous in Subculture. So I'm really looking forward to watching that. Alan Angels, we spoke about. He had a great match last week. He cut a promo. He wants in the Ultimate X match. He wants to become #1 contender. And it kind of made it clear now that he's out of the design with this promo, I think.
Yeah. It seemed that way last week, and this all but confirms it, doesn't it, pretty much? And tremendous. It'd be a tremendous addition to the match. Again, another one at Slammiversary that, we do the prediction shows with Gary Joe at Honor the Elite, and he kind of incorporated an excitement level. So we kind of say how excited we are per match. All of these matches are kind of 8s and 9s, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, at the moment, they certainly seem that way. I can't think of anything unless they absolutely mess it up, and I can't see them messing it up. So I think we're going to be in for a really good show tomorrow night. Speaking of the show, we talked about how good the promos were this week. This one, Jesus. Adlis or Aldis, whatever you want to.
Yeah, Aldis.
Aldis. He was like sick of the "you deserve it" mentality. Said that Shelley was a hypocrite. It was nonsense. The machine guns were the house at Impact Wrestling. Basically built Impact Wrestling. He also said it was ridiculous they built Impact because they weren't there when Aldis beat Hardy, Joe, Sting, Angle.
Yeah.
And he said Impact Management wanted him as champion as I think Shelley to prove he wasn't a transitional champion. And if Shelley could beat him, it would prove his legacy, but it was up to him. What a way to build that match for the main event.
Just unreal work. And I would normally say with Shelley recently picking up the title, and I don't know if it's his first defense or it will be one of his first defenses.
He's had a few.
Yeah, I would normally be saying he'd retain. I don't know which way this will go. I've got no idea. It's a coin toss. It's totally 50-50. I don't know whether Aldis becomes a champion or whether Shelley retains. I don't know what your opinion is, but I just couldn't call it at all.
I have no clue who's going to win that match, and that's what makes it even better because you don't know.
That's the sign of such a good build as well.
Yeah, you would assume because it's early on in Shelley's reign that he would retain.
That's
but
it.
But there's also the other side to that is he's a tag team wrestler.
Yeah,
with Saban. So do they go back to that, and then do they go against Subculture?
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. But even if Saban retains, I wouldn't necessarily be feeling that Shelley will go one way or the other. Or if Saban loses his title, whether kind of that would influence the Shelley match. I'm totally, I'm looking forward to just sitting down and watching it and see how they tell the story and see how it plays out. Either option's a fantastic one, though, isn't it? If Shelley retains or Aldis begins a new reign as champion. Yeah, it's just, off the hook at the minute.
Yeah, it is. I can't wait for it. I seriously can't wait.
This is a little bit different to the last show we did, isn't
Wow.
it?
I mean, you think we've not had one swear word in this one? We've
just a lot of smiling and a lot of praise. And that's what we want to do, man. Like, we never, ever want to crap on anything or anyone. We've got so much respect and gratitude for all the performers that provide the entertainment that we watch week in, week out. But at the same time, we can't sit here and say that stuff's good when it's not, or if we feel it's not. And our opinion isn't necessarily right. It's an opinion. I've heard people talk about Dynamite this week and thought it was a decent show. I can't see that, to be honest with you, and I'd be lying if I said that I enjoyed it. But in terms of impact, give me more of this, man. Give me more of this. And it's nice to know as well that if WWE and AEW aren't providing the goods, there's somewhere to go that you are going to get your fix of good wrestling, because NXT's on fire as well. So, the whole wrestling scene is booming. Don't get me wrong. Everything's great. But it's so competitive for me. And if I've got limited time in a week and I've got to miss a show, Impact's not going to be the show that I miss at the minute.
No, nor me either. I want to make sure, again, well, we did tune in last week, just didn't get a chance to review it.
Yeah.
We'll be definitely on this. This is, by far, this has been the show of the week. We've obviously got SmackDown tonight. We've got Collision. The Collision card looks good tomorrow.
Yes, it does.
Slammiversary card looks fantastic. So it's going to be interesting to see who gets show of the week. But
definitely, we'll summarize that on Sunday, won't we? And we got a lot of wrestling to watch Sunday morning for us in the UK. If we've got a Slammiversary and Collision, I might even stay up for it Saturday night. I'm that excited about it. And I haven't stayed up for a live show for a long time.
No.
But what time is it? Is it 1 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah. I may well do, mate. I may well do.
I can't wait for it. I really can't wait for this weekend's wrestling. Right, main event time. Impact's main event was Deonna Purrazzo Open Challenge, which was answered by Jodie Fret, trained by Josh Alexander, which is the Wild Child or something along those lines. The Wild Child. So I didn't feel like you, Dave, when you're saying didn't know a lot about her. But this match, Jesus, I mean, this is what we're talking when we're talking women's wrestling, and we say 2 talents, give them time and just let them go. They produce stuff like this.
Yeah, and I don't think any company is better than Impact at how they put their women matches out and how they book their women's division. It's normal for them to be in the main event. It's not like a novelty, or it's not like a rare thing. It's absolutely, you don't think of it as anything other than totally normal and something that they do on many occasions. They trust their women to go out there and put on matches like this. And as you say, the challenge was set and they knocked it out of the park yet again.
Yeah, they absolutely did. On this one, Purrazzo countered an F416 into the Venus de Milo, which was a painter, right? I think, or some kind of whatever. Anyway, it was a submission.
I'm still coming back, like, accustomed with all the moves and stuff like that. I'm not like the database of knowledge I have that I am, but like I like to think I am, or I like to be for AEW. But man, I will be. Give me a few months, and Impact might overtake that fandom the way Dynamite was this week.
Indeed. Giselle Shaw, Savannah Evans ran down to attack them both. The Death Dolls come out, and then so did the Coven, Killer Kelly, and Mesha Slamovich come out, which brought out Trinity. Yeah. Trinity and Purrazzo basically cleared the ring. They brawled to each other. That is a way to, and again, you're setting up the individual matches for the pay-per-view, and to go off the air thinking, I need to see Saturday now.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
And it's go home shows, that's exactly how they should be. And I don't understand how the bigger companies get it wrong so often. But I don't want to focus on that. I don't want to dwell on that. I just want to talk about how good Impact Wrestling are doing at the minute. And yet again, like you say, they go off air and you're hungry for more. You want to see the next show. And when that show's a pay-per-view and they're asking people to spend money, I mean, people will absolutely be digging deep into their pockets and into their wallets and stumping up the cash straight away for this, because they've done such a good job of selling it and promoting it.
Yep, they have done. I will certainly be buying this pay-per-view. But that wasn't over yet, was it now? Now, D'Amore is out the back on the phone. We said earlier on, Macklin's out, PCO's out. Cody Deaner is Bully Ray's partner. And Scott D'Amore's on the phone, and he said, we've tried everything. PCO can't come back to life. But he's wondering if this person could come back to life before you see the Team Canada jersey. I think I know who it is, and I'm going to say the words Eric Young. And the reason why I'm going to say Eric Young was because Cody Deaner was the person that stabbed him and killed him at a show before he went to the WWE run, which we never saw him at.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I wasn't watching at that time, but yeah, if that Well, I'm sure that is the case, you say. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. He's somebody as well that I really do associate with my kind of tenure as being a big TNA fan. You know,
Yeah.
the stuff that he was doing at the time, the stuff he was doing with ODB as well, when they were doing that kind of odd couple thing, and so entertaining. But obviously went on a more serious run after that, didn't he? And he was world champion, I believe.
Yep.
So yeah, he fits the bill absolutely perfectly. And if he's the mystery partner, which sounds like he's going to be, then we've got yet another match that is capable of stealing the show when it comes Saturday night.
And you could count them all on the show.
Every single one of them.
Let's run. Let me get the card up quickly so we can run through the card in a bit more detail. And then
the X Division title match, the world title match, that tag match, you know, the tag team title match.
Yep.
Which I may have another team added to it yet. You know, it's
it may well be.
Women's match.
So it's in Canada. It's going to be in Windsor. So let's hope the crowd are a bit better than where Saskatchewan or wherever they was.
Yeah, I asked Gary Joe about this again because I'm not as I watched wrestling my whole life, but I always think of Canadian fans as mental and sellout crowds, but I know a lot of areas of Canada are quite remote, so I don't know. I don't know why, because the crowd certainly wasn't a sellout at Dynamite on Wednesday.
No.
I think Slammiversary will do a good gate though. They normally do. It's one of their flagship shows, isn't it? It's like their WrestleMania.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to be apparently headlined by the Knockouts.
Yeah.
Pizarro and Trinity, which
trust. There you go. Just
biggest show of the year, and
they never let them down. They never let them down. So I don't know why other companies don't see that and do the same.
Do you think it's glow time for Trinity in Impact?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, what a get as well. And I keep forgetting to say, Matt Raywald, Tom Hannifan on commentary.
Yeah, such a great combination.
Yeah.
I wax lyrical about the commentary team on Collision. But yeah, these guys as well. They're right up there. It's like, I don't know, the competition between the promotions, it just brings out the best in everybody. And that is not just the talent in the ring, it's the stuff that's going on beyond backstage. That should be, better.
Yeah.
The commentary, the whole overall production. What a time to be a wrestling fan in 2023.
Exactly. I'm going to put this. There's two pre-show matches. We already spoke about it earlier on. Death Dolls against Jody and Jody Fret against the Shantaraj of Giselle Shaw, Savannah Evans, and Jade Vidal, and our good mate against Kenny King for the Impact Digital Media Championship.
I need to have a look at the start of that championship, because I don't know the history, the lineage of it or anything.
Jordan Grace won it at one point. At one point. I can't remember.
I don't know much about it. When you hear like digital media, I think of Zack Ryder, straight Matt Cardona. That's where my head goes. But yeah, I'll have to do my homework and have a look into that.
So we've obviously got the Scott D'Amore. We're expecting Eric Young against Bully Ray and Dina, and there is I believe there is a special enforcer, which is Darren McCarthy, who's a hockey player.
Okay,
going to be in there. There's Eddie Edwards, Frankie Kazarian.
Yeah, great.
Now
I forgot about that.
We talk about this one. Here we go. The number one contendership fatal 5-way ultimate X match. Alan Angels, Kevin Knight, Grisham, Bailey, Kushida.
Oh no.
That's right. Where's the wallet? Take it now. Take the money.
Absolutely. I wish it was tonight, man. I wish I'm even more excited talking about it like this, and because I forgot the Kaz match as well. That's got huge potential to be like a show stealer as well.
Yeah, it does.
That X Division match, the title match, and the number one contenders match, the Ultimate X.
Yeah,
they're always good. They always seem to find a way though to one up the year before.
Yeah,
somehow, some way. A move you haven't seen, a risk that somebody shouldn't be taking, but they do. Yeah, man,
it's going to be great. Impact Knockouts World Title, the Coven, the champions against Slamovich and Killer Kelly.
Yeah.
So we're expecting at the moment that the Impact Tag Team Champion is a 4-way currently.
Yeah.
as we say, we may get the Rascals added, but it's going to be
Yeah.
Bullet Club ABC, Chris Bay, Ace Austin versus Moose and Brian Myers versus Callahan and Swan versus Subculture.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if we get a fifth team there, or certainly involvement. You know, something's going to go down.
They will, and
That adds another level of intrigue, doesn't it? Which, you know, you could argue it doesn't need anymore, but it certainly does.
It does, and it's going to be brilliant. I'm rooting for either ABC or a bit of a fan of some wood culture.
Our boys, man.
Our Welsh
friend of the show,
friends.
can we say that?
Friends of the show, yeah. Flash has been on before. I'm sure we'll get.
Yeah, he's a great guest.
As well. And then obviously, as you said, Chris Sabin, Leo Rush, Alex Shelley, Nick Aldis, stacked to the rafters. Impact Wrestling show of the week for me. There's not even a debate. I don't know.
Not close.
Not even
close.
Not even.
SmackDown and Collision. Yeah, I don't know if you can include Rampage because it's got pre-taped and the results get leaked and stuff like that. It doesn't feel have the same kind of impact as Dynamite and Collision. So yeah, certainly AEW with Collision and the WWE with SmackDown have got to do something pretty impressive to beat this week's edition of Impact. And I think Slammiversary is just going to blow everybody away this weekend. I can't wait to watch it.
I can't wait to watch it either. I think. They've got a lot of work to do of the other team, of our good friends at WWE and AEW to beat this.
And there's bound to be, like from watching the last few weeks and getting more refamiliarizing myself with the product again, there's bound to be another couple of surprises or things on Saturday as well, aside from the in-ring action that we get. So I know that we got the mystery partner situation, but I'm sure there'll be more faces that pop up on Saturday night that we weren't expecting or haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, and that's always the reason why you should watch those shows, because you do not know if anyone's going to turn up. Eric Young, we're expecting as well, as we've already discussed. But Dave,
I don't know the situation with Josh Alexander at the minute. I haven't looked for a long time, but you know, he's been missing for a while. So who knows, man?
Who knows? Who knows? And that's what makes, and that's what's made Impact Wrestling on this upward trajectory for the last 12 to 18 months. Dave, this has been Impact Wrestling Review. We will review Slammiversary.
We will.
We'll find a way. We'll get it done.
We'll
get it done. But for Dave Robinson, I'm Impact Adam. There you go. Boom. Done. And we will see you. Well, we've got a lot more coming, but we'll see you again. Until next time, buckle down, stay safe, goodbye. Watch Impact Wrestling on AXS TV or DAZN TV and watch the pay-per-view on Fight. Goodbye.